Welcome back. We want to get Gil's answer very quickly in case you missed it. We are talking about gun control and how it's going to affect the mentally ill as far as background checks go.
Well, there are some people who do commit gun crimes that have severe mental disabilities, but they still need to work on that part of the executive order a little bit. But I think it's a good idea to take the weapons out of their hands and have mental health professionals report people who do have severe mental illnesses to the people who do the gun checks, background checks.
Thank you, Gil. Still keeping on the pace here, talking about guns. First gun show in Jacksonville since the president spoke. And meanwhile, a bill in the Florida legislature is looking to allow people to carry guns on college campuses. Obviously, we have a few campuses here in our area. So this bill would allow Florida's 1.4 million concealed weapons permits holders to have a gun while taking classes or even when simply walking onto a university or college campus. So what do you think, Gil? And then we'll go to Eric.
Well, I've done some research. I've gone back as far as the year 2000. Over the past 16 years, there are like 130 colleges and technical schools in the state of Florida. And over that time period, there have only been 3 shootings on the college campus. Of course, one was the Florida State shooting that was very terrible last year. Another one was in Central Florida. And the third one were some guys that knew each other that were fighting in a parking lot. So 130 schools over 16 years, only 3 shootings. It's not an epidemic. I just don't think it's absolutely necessary. And it's dangerous, I think, on college campuses. A lot of professors do not want this because they think it would hinder spirited debate in classrooms, because they get into some very heavy verbal debating in classes, and if someone is really upset about their side not being represented right, and they're there with the firearm and so many other issues, that they would rather not have them on the campus.
So you're a no on that. Eric, what do you think about it?
Well, colleges are not insulated from the dangers of society. While there's only been 3 shootings that we know of that have been reported on college campuses, there have been many more right off campus. There have been numerous crimes that are reported on campuses and just off campuses every day in this state. And these people who are 21 years of age or older, who have concealed carry licenses already, have a right to defend themselves. It doesn't matter whether they're on one side of the street or the other. These people who carry next to you in the grocery store or shopping on any given day are just as safe when they enter a college campus as they are off campus. And I would point out that our state college system, which only has 5 of which have police departments, the average age of those students is 29 years old. We're not talking about children carrying guns. We're talking about licensed, law-abiding adults who want the right to defend themselves on campus just like they do off campus.
But if you look at the numbers, 93% of assaults on college students, as you said, occurs off campus. So college campuses are actually safer than outside of college. And you look at colleges like in states like Utah and Colorado that do allow people to carry weapons on campus. Forcible rape has increased in those states on college campuses. In Colorado, and just over a time period, in Colorado, just in the year 2013, there was an increase of sexual assault by 36%. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the weapons cause those sexual assaults to happen, but it does dispel the myth that colleges are safer with weapons when people carry weapons.
Eric, rebuttal?
The bottom line is we've had a situation dealing with college sexual assaults where we've had increased reporting. So the increased reports of sexual assaults don't mean that sexual assaults are increasing on these college campuses. And in fact, one of the most compelling testimonies I've ever heard was a young lady named Amanda Collins, who was a college student and was raped as a college student, and testified to the Colorado legislature that she supported campus carry because if she had had a gun, she would have been able to defend herself, but she was denied that right. This is a fundamental right that we have in this country, and it shouldn't be taken away just because we cross a sidewalk onto a place that's owned by a state university.
We've got 30 seconds left, so quickly, about 10 seconds each of you, just kind of wrap up whatever you want to leave us with.
Well, if you talk to university police departments, chiefs of police, all over the country, over 90% of them do not want this. College faculty members do not want it. Even 80% of college students in the Midwest survey said that they think it would be dangerous because it could increase thefts, suicides, those type of crimes.
In this country, we don't let public employees, whether they have the title professor, president, or police chief, we do not let government officials decide who may or may not carry a firearm. That is a question for the legislature and the people who write the Constitution.
Thank you both very much. Really great conversation here. Obviously, we want to hear what you think, too. Again, HB 4001 was introduced by the state representatives Greg Stubble and Michelle Rowinkle-Vasalinda. Local representatives also are behind this. It was introduced this week and is set for a second round of discussion in the Senate.